topic that no one talks about, and it's not popular in church, but it is absolutely crucial to Christian life. And it is the fear of the Lord. That is the way it is translated into English. In French, it's la crainte de l'Éternel. There is a difference between peur and crainte in French, but in English it's fear. So what does that mean? Let's look at Exodus chapter 19. God told his people that he was going to come down on Mount Sinai so that they would approach him a bit. And he said, on the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning with a thick cloud over the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast. Everyone in the camp trembled. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke, because the Lord descended on it in fire. The smoke billowed up from it like smoke from a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. And afterwards, the people told Moses, "That's enough. We don't want God to speak to us anymore. It's good for you. Go and meet him and then come back and tell us what he said." They feared him, and that was real fear. It was fear of a God that was previously unknown and that was anything but what they expected. It was clearly not a human being, and they had never met such a display of thunder, lightning, fire, and all the rest. And there are many other examples. A whole long narrative is in the book of Job in the Bible, where Job is plagued with all kinds of suffering, disease, loss, and he is confused. And then his friends talk with him and back and forth, and they are discussing about why God could inflict suffering. And at the end of it all, God comes to Job and said, "All right, brace yourself. Let's see whether you can understand me a bit better. Were you there when I created the world? Do you know where snow starts? Do you know how the animals up the mountain deliver their kids?" And he continues asking them question upon question upon question till Job surrenders and says, "All right, sorry. I tried to talk, but actually I recognize I know nothing." And it's at that time that we have another example of fear of the Lord, but in a different way, because Job knew God to a point. And so it was not fear of terror, but it was what we call awe. "I stand in awe of you," says the song, the worship song. Reverence, respect, utmost respect for someone that is far higher and beyond what we can understand. The God that says, "My ways are not your ways." As high as the skies, my ways are there, far away from yours. And God has revealed in his word that is the great order, is very different, and at the same time is the Almighty, the all-powerful. Is a spirit that has no beginning and no end. is beyond our wildest imaginations. And so, what we discover as we approach Him is awe. Trembling because we recognize that, like He told Moses, when Moses wanted to see His glory, Moses said, "Please, show me your glory." And that was not for a beginner. He had been talking with God for quite a while. And God told him, "You cannot see my face and live. If I do that, you'll die. But I will show my back to you. I'll keep you in a cleft of the rock, and then I'll pass by." And as he passed, he called him his own name. And that's all that Moses saw. So I invite you today to seek to know God better. Knowing means, in the language of the Bible, having such a close encounter with Him that the one between husband and wife is just a small, very shallow picture of it. Like husband and wife become one. They know each other, and yet we can never know each other completely. It's just an approach, an intimate approach, and that's what God seeks. And because of Jesus Christ and His sacrifice on the cross, we can approach God and seek to know Him better as we read His word and listen to His voice, as we follow His Holy Spirit talking to us and guiding us through our days. We come to know Him, and the more we know Him, the more we respect Him. We stand in awe of Him. And there are times where you can touch the holiness of God, the mighty power of God. Not only when we see mighty peals of thunder, lightning that can kill instantly. We have all seen that. But there is more to it. There was a time one of our daughters was in university. She was a student, and she had someone that constantly maltreated her, a fellow student. They shared a flat at a point, and that girl was really hating our daughter. At the time, she took a glass of water and threw it into her face. And our daughter never replied. She just looked at it and left it. Time passed, about, 1 year, and that girl went to a skiing resort in France for holidays. And she had a ski accident and died. The day I was told that, fear of God gripped me. Because He said, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." That's why it also told us, pray for your enemies. Because your enemies, if you are close to God, are God's enemies. And if you don't pray for them, whatever a man sows, that is what he reaps. That is also written in the Bible. So that God that is so loving is also the ultimate judge, and He cannot see sin. All the things that are happening in our nations daily, killings, abortion, treating people anyhow, behaving worse than animals, nakedness and debauchery, all these things, it's not fashionable to talk about it anymore. But God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He said He hates it. So don't joke with Him. Remember, The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And that is what is repeated in His word for all to know. Don't approach it casually, ever.